Hello and welcome to Sounds Heal Podcast. I'm your host, Natalie Brown, and thank you so much for joining me as we continue to explore the fields of sound healing, sound therapy, and generally the use of sound for health and wellness. In this episode, I'm joined by Laila Brady Walzer, musician, spiritual teacher, and healer whose path weaves together music, mysticism, and personal transformation. From early years immersed in global music traditions to a healing journey through chronic illness and Sufism, Laila shares how sacred sound became central to her spiritual and physical recovery. We explore the Sufi view of the heart as a hologram of the whole being and how sacred sound helps us shed emotional layers and reconnect with our essence, love. She reflects on becoming a hollow flute, the role of breath and voice in healing, and how the Healing Sounds of Abrahamic Faiths program unites tradition through sound. We also discuss how ancient wisdom and modern science meet in the field of sound healing. This is a deep, heart-centered conversation on sound, spirit, and what it means to return to the music within. Both Laila and recent guest Yuval Ron are teachers for the University of Sufism upcoming program, Healing Sounds of the Abrahamic Faiths, a groundbreaking program exploring the mystical power of sacred sound in Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Learn from renowned masters as they unveil how sacred vibrations can restore balance, elevate consciousness, and awaken the divine within. You can enroll now and begin your path towards sacred sound healing. So visit sufiuniversity.org to learn more, or you can call 800-238-3060, extension 701, to speak with an admissions counselor. Please enjoy this episode. Okay, welcome in, Laila. It's wonderful to be with you, and thanks for being here.
Natalie, thank you so much. This is such a great opportunity to connect with you and other people who really appreciate the healing value of sound.
Let's start with your sound background and really your musical and spiritual journey. So what led you to the path of sacred sound and healing? And how has your understanding evolved over time, right? Really broad question, but
Right.
kind of start wherever you would like.
Great questions. So I grew up in a family who sang harmony to the hum of the refrigerator and played off of the rhythm of the windshield wipers. So we were driving in the car. Both my parents are very creative musically. And my mom was a church choir director and organist, and my dad was an absolute raving atheist. So that was interesting. And, I sang in church choirs and high school choirs and all of that kind of thing, and quartets. And I loved doing that. And wound up in Ireland at a pub. And after I graduated from college, and noticed the bodhrán player, the drum player, and I just asked if he would show me how to play the bodhrán. So I picked up the bodhrán, penny whistle. When I was in Africa, I was singing in the church choir there, and boy, did they know how to celebrate the Stations of the Cross. Boy, they went around town and they went, Jesus did this here, Jesus did that there, and they had the beautiful congas and all different kinds of drums and so forth. I just loved it, and I think really what I want to say is that we are full of music. We're just made of sound. We're made from sound. With the heartbeat. I mean, heartbeat right there, right? Or the breath in the nostrils, or the singing of the blood in the veins. I mean, we are such musical sounding beings. So it was interesting because I took the requisite piano lessons that everybody did, and I also felt, I appreciate people with high standards, and the excellence and precision. There was a way where the way it had an effect on me was to shut me down. It felt really harsh and really cruel, just the always striving for a standard you're never gonna reach. And my parents were a funny contradiction of all of that, but certainly classical music can have that edge to it. And I just really shut down musically after exploring a lot of different things. The parallel path to that was I got chronically ill, and the doctors couldn't figure out why. And I remembered a healer that I had known when I lived at a spiritual conference center, who was an incredible medical intuitive. And I got on the phone with him. I mean, he didn't have to be sitting in the room with me. I mean, obviously, if you're an intuitive, right? So he said, Laila, you studied a lot of spiritual paths. There's a lot of other things that I did too. You studied a lot of spiritual paths, he said, but you have shut your heart to love so strongly that your body can't receive the oxygen from your red blood cells. You have got to open your heart. And in the meanwhile, I had become a hoo-ha in another spiritual path, and I'd done all the training, and I was a teacher, and I think I was probably doing some good work, but I needed to be doing something deeper. So he said, well, there's a Sufi holy man traveling the country, and I think he can help you. And I said, okay, what's a Sufi? Where is he going to be? Whatever. And he said, listen, Lily, you know a lot, but when you meet this master, you will have to let go of everything you think you know and let yourself open to something entirely new. So, because like a lot of us, especially if you're an intuitive woman or anybody really, but it's like being masculine in the society, being mental and intellectual in the society, and sometimes those qualities are really good, but if they're used in defense to cover the heart, then we're starving ourselves, right? We're shutting ourselves down, and it can be an intense world. So there's a lot I could say, but I wound up taking hand with the Sufi master. And 2 years later, I had a completely normal blood result. And a year after that, I started doing triathlon. Now, granted, I was not at the front of the pack, but it was a kind of complete about face. So the thing that there are two aspects of this. One is our essential nature. Our essential nature is love, in my understanding. Our essential nature is based on the divine template of complete love. And when we shut that down, as we do, childhood stuff, therapy talks about some of those things, psychology, many of us are familiar with limiting beliefs, stuck emotions, cultural oppression, that kind of thing. We stop our life flow. We start cutting off our life. And in Sufism, which is one of the main things I'll be teaching in this Abrahamic sound feeling course, teaches us to go deeper and deeper, and the heart being a hologram for the whole being. So deeper and deeper into the heart, shedding limiting beliefs, shedding old pain, and going deeper and deeper to our essence. The way we do that is through humility and intention and a sacred sound. So there are a number of invocations, divine names, special healings, a number of different ways to invite sacred sound. And when I say sacred sound, often it's in a sacred language. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, every languages are sacred, right? Because human beings are sacred. But some languages have the actual meaning of the word encoded in the sound and the transmission of it, right? So you and I can sit here and we can say chair. We're thinking about a chair, and a chair has four legs and usually has a seat in the back, and it could look like this or that, but it's a chair. It's an idea. In sacred language, the actual reality is encoded in the sound of the word. So a lot of the healing work, the sound work, is based in some of these languages. Yuval Ron, my co-teacher, who I think was on your podcast recently, is really a specialist in exploring many, many different traditions and different sacred languages and so forth. My focus has been Sufism and what our Sufi master gave us. So back to the Sufi master with whom I took hand. Laila is my Sufi name, but I use it now all the time because it feels like it's me, you know. And as I mentioned, I had been kind of masculine in my left brain a lot, and didn't feel safe to open my heart. And, you know, I was kind of cynical and, you know, smart alecky and whatnot. When I took the promise with him, I took hand with him, and he gave me my name, and the name Laila sometimes refers to the divine feminine. But on a deep level, it means the deep secret love of God. And I burst into tears because I felt like I had been seen completely for the first time in my life. So again, and it was an experience of connecting with being seen as who I truly was, my original divine template, you could say, that we all have. It's not, I'm just using myself as an example, that we all have. So the two converged. And CD, a lot of what we learned, very special, some of them were hidden healing practices using some of these sacred chants. And by the way, when I say we are made of music and we are all made in a divine template, I really mean it. You know, I think it's great to have a choir where everyone's singing absolutely in tune and that kind of thing. I think that has its place and it should have its place. But you know, the most sincere frog can croak a healing invocation with sincerity, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
Right. So in a sense, you know, taking on this, that we're vibratory beings, what does it take to make a sound sacred?
Mm.
Is it the intent, the purpose, the energy behind it, the word itself? What would you say to kind of understand that use of sacred sound and what makes it sacred?
No, that's a great question. I mean, broadly, because we're sacred beings, everything, even if it doesn't look that way, has holiness to it. But in Sufism, it's the sincerity of the intention, and it's the depth of understanding and love from which that utterance is given. So, and I know this is very esoteric, so I appreciate your hanging in with me, but the Sufi teaching is God, whatever God means for people. That's going to be a very loaded word, but I'm going to use the word God, and, you know, listen to it with generosity, if you will. God said, I was a hidden treasure that loved to be known. And so I took the light from my essence and said, be the first creation. Now, obviously, when one says God said, it's not vibrations going and hitting the eardrum, but it's the first utterance. It's similar in Judaism and Christianity. God said, let there be light, right? So it's a creative act. My understanding is we are born ultimately from that creative act, and we are modeled on that creative act. We have the capacity for that creative act. However we do it, we can say things that are not so nice, or we could say things that come from that deep understanding of ourselves, of who we are. So the treasure of the Sufi aspect of this course is the personal journey into the dimensions of the heart to allow us to go deeper and deeper. Is that making sense? So like you could say the first dimension of the heart is our personality level. Like my name is such and such, and I like chocolate, and you still have a dog, and I'm a woman, and I'm this age, and I live in this country, and this is my culture, da da da. Everything, physical body, everything that makes us an individualized existence in this world. The second dimension of the heart, and again, it's true for everybody. Different spiritual paths map it out slightly differently, but I believe it's sort of a divine architecture, you could say. The second level of the heart is where we begin to go beyond ourselves and go, oh, there's an interconnectedness here. There's more than just me. There's like that feeling you get when you look at a sunset. It's like, wow, this is just, you feel the connection and also one's own insignificance in a good way, if you know what I mean. The third dimension of the heart has to do with the divine names, like the giver of life, the giver of peace. Maybe you've heard Jews will say shalom. It's one of the divine names. It means the peace of God, the peace of the divine be with you. It's similar in Sufism, salam, and so forth. And then the fourth dimension of the heart is where we are in unity with God. And again, this all sounds a little esoteric, but those dimensions, the way to walk into those dimensions is mapped out in this particular kind of Sufism. And it's very clear. These are the practices. These are the things, God willing to work on. These are the qualities you want to cultivate. And and you don't have to be a Sufi to do this. You don't have to take hand with a master or anything, although it's, if your heart wants to, that's wonderful, but we're not asking for that. It's more that the map is there. So you can, and it's tried and true. There have been many, many people have taken this path before. So as I will be offering part of the ongoing coursework will be introduction to the stations, the practices, the support, to let people sing from a deeper and deeper place, do the prayers, the invocations, everything from a deeper and deeper place. It's kind of like you have a flute that's got gunk, like those penny whistles, that you can play. I don't know about your penny whistle. My penny whistle get gunk in it. Like would eat something that I play my penny whistle, and it start to sound pretty funky. It's like the practice is kind of like clean the inside of the whistle and clean it, and the sound that comes out is purer and purer.
Yeah, that's beautifully described. So you've mentioned this program, right, through the University of Sufism. Mm-hmm. It's the healing sounds of Abrahamic Faiths. What inspired the program? How did it come together, and what was the plan to make it unique?
First of all, our Sufi master said, this is, I want a place to come where people can come and learn about their heart, learn how to know themselves so that they can be happy, be free, and also be of service. And honestly, the administration and the other professors, like they asked, beloveds, what do you see? What do you think what's your specialty? What sets you on fire? And I brought up this, and they were like, okay, good, let's do it. And also sound healing is very, it's very popular right now, and it's free.
Right.
And it's, I think people are interested in it.
Definitely. There's a lot of interest there and the different ways into understanding it. Yeah. Now, I know that the program mentions that no musical experience or instruments are needed, which is great, right? Only the breath and the voice. Mm-hmm. Why is that so central to this work?
I think again, and again, if somebody plays an instrument or, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. There are aspects of those things you can get elsewhere. I think the essence of this program is making oneself the hollow flute through which the sound can come through. So, and it does not matter, honestly. I came into Sufism kind of with still a kind of a snobby classical approach, and I'd be in my class, we would all be doing dyads and doing healings on each other and practicing these things, and somebody wasn't very beautiful to my ear, but the person they were doing the healing on was improving. So it's like, It's like, okay, Layla. Anybody, we're even in Arabic, which is one of the languages we use. Ruh is spirit. It's also the same word for breath. Ruh, and you could just feel it like ruh. So you do not have to have a pretty voice or anything like that. It's like we are made of music. We are made of sound. We are made from sound. And nobody, and it's funny too, because some of the senior teachers, or none of them are particularly skilled musicians. I mean, Yuval is, of course he's a wonderfully skilled musician, but a lot of them, the specialty is more just opening the heart and letting anyone who follows this way do the healing.
I do think that is really important, actually, I think, to our sound healing field right now. There is so much going on, so many ways in that sometimes we get distracted by the beautiful instruments and, things like that, that to really come into where am I offering from? Why? What's the energy behind it? And I think you're right, also coming from a classical music disciplined background, that's been one of the healing aspects for me.
Oh,
It's not
wonderful.
about how good can I play.
Right.
It's why, where is it coming from, and how can I help? So I think that's really well said, that it's not about perfectionism and technique. It's about coming from the heart and being that open channel. Yeah, yeah. Um, I think what's really also happening right now is that science is starting to get caught up. We're really in this time of remembering and cherishing kind of these ancient traditions. But science is beginning to validate some of these modalities. How do you see this interplay between ancient traditions and modern research in sound healing, or maybe other aspects of your work?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think they're describing the same phenomena from different angles. Why not? I mean, I think the mystics came first, and then science is catching up. And why not? Yuval Ron, my co-teacher, really specializes in that. He's going to do a whole module on that. I just know when I was a kid, and I actually was a raving atheist myself. And again, I'm talking about belief in God or not belief in God. Anybody is welcome. You don't have to have a certain set of beliefs. But I know for myself, I would sing in a church choir, and I wasn't particularly connected with the text, but that feeling of togetherness and the feeling of maybe something greater coming in and moving the group along is like it opens people's hearts to each other. It creates community. It creates beauty. It sends out sound waves of peace into the world. I think you may be familiar with the study. I think it was in Scandinavia where they tested people and they found that singing in a choir brought the same kind of calming benefits as doing an hour of yoga or something like that. Familiar with that? Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much out there now, and of course, a lot of it for us is experiential, right? Like we've experienced it, we know, we can tell. Um, but for relevancy, acceptance of some of these things, so some people like to see the data, the proof.
Sure, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing. We're all made different, right? I mean, some people are more scientifically oriented. Some people are more process oriented. Some people are more like color. Some people like it. Why not? If God is infinite, why wouldn't there be an infinite number of ways to appreciate? Like why not? So it's just good. Like if you're a scientist, not to force yourself into something else, or if you're a poet, not to go to engineering school and then wonder why you get a headache. Not that engineers can't be poetic, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Well, so you mentioned your own kind of life changes with a chronic illness. I'm wondering what kind of transformations you've witnessed, not only in yourself, but maybe others through these practices, through sacred sound, whether it's in somebody's daily life or maybe something that was really miraculous.
I'm going to give an example of my dog. So I had, of course, he's a rescue named Buddy, really, really dear dog, and he was really sick. And I took him to the vet, And the vet called me up and said, I started asking questions like, what had he eaten? Where had he been? Like, I think, and then I think he was kindly trying to tell me that Buddy was going to die, and Buddy was really sick. His kidneys were on the way to failing. And so, of course, my husband and I were just, I was crying, and I asked the vet if I could come in the next day and sit with Buddy, and he said, sure, like he's thinking the poor dog's going to die. Why not let her, So I woke up in the morning and I was like, dag nabbit, you've gone to a healing school. You have tools. So I took some water, and I took some of the healing invocations and recited them into the water. We've learned, I think, that water can carry vibration, can carry healing, and it's like, I don't speak Arabic. I don't, but transliterated, I could stumble through it, and your intention really trumps everything else, So, and then I went back to the animal hospital, and went into the back, and it's sort of like the animals were all in cages, and some of them were coming out of surgery and they were flopping around, and there's a linoleum floor and fluorescent lights, and it was kind of cacophonous. Dogs are barking, and so forth. And there was dear little Buddy in his cage with his little IV, and his breath stank because he was just, so toxic. And so the protocol was to put the water on the area of the body that needed help, and do the same invocations. So I'm like, I don't know where his kidneys are. I've never thought about it. So I just, please let my hands be drawn to the right place. So I dipped my hands in the water, and I started to stroke, I think along the spine, sort of in the middle back, and started to recite the same invocation. And when I started off with Bismillah in the name of Allah, the merciful and the compassionate, and every animal in the back grew silent, absolutely silent. And I was like, okay. And I continued. So for an hour, I was doing this with him, and the vet tech came by and said, try him on some water. Maybe we don't need the IV. He's looking a little better. Tried him some water. Give him some food. I think he can keep it down. Gave him some food. An hour later went by. She said, I think you can take him out to relieve himself and then bring him back. Took him out to relieve himself and came back. After 3 hours, and I wasn't doing it constantly, but I give him a little dose, and then he'd take it in and give him a little dose. The vet came by and he said, what are you doing? He said, let's take his kidney values again. He said, they've improved by, I forget how much it was, over 50%. He said, take him home. You're doing better with him than we are. Bring him back on Monday. So I did, and his kidneys values were like 90% of what they should be. And he said, this is a miracle dog. And of course, it wasn't only that, it was also the antibiotics, and it was, the IV and so forth. But, and then, a week later, he was running around just completely normal. And I do want to say, by the way, Rahman is one of the divine names, and Rahim, they both come from the root word Rahama. There's 3 syllables, and you can do the syllables in different formations in order to take different permutations on the meaning. Rahama is the root word for womb. So in Sufism, the first name of God is the One, the everything. And then the next most on the top 10 is Rahman, which is the complete and overwhelming generosity towards absolutely everything in creation. Like, it's the rain that falls on everybody's fields. It's the sun that shines on everyone's fields. It's the gravity that hugs everything to the earth's breast. Complete and holding generosity. And then the next name, Rahim, same root word, Rahama, is that mercy that comes when your heart cries. It's like that specific dosage. So it's like, it's the milk. Somebody told me about this. I couldn't believe it. He watched the milk came to his wife's breast before the baby cried. There was some connection going on. So the divine names are like that. There's beautiful hidden meanings in them.
That's really, really beautiful. Beautiful story, beautiful healing. You have a beautiful voice, but also a reminder. I mean, anybody that's listening, watching, that we have access to these tools. We just have to remember in the moment
Yeah,
that it's there, right? To access your heart. So, right, this was your heart. This was your full intent, your wish, your tuning into the divine, and then, you know, sharing it with your voice, right? It's there, right? If you have the ability to breathe, these
exactly.
these miracles can happen,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah. Beautiful. Well, what do you hope that participants take away from this program that you all have put together?
I think that joy is such a healing thing, and it's kind of in short supply right now, or at least I think we think. This is just my thought. I could be wrong, but I think we think if we're a moral person, we should be wringing our hands 24/7. And there's a lot going on in the world. I want people to remember and to access and live in the joy of knowing that we are created from love. We can make a difference. Discovering deeper and deeper levels of ourselves that are beautiful, and then living from that place. And you can give a sound healing session by how you leave a message on the phone, right? Or playing games with the kids and you're calling back and forth, or singing in a choir. I'm actually in an Irish band, and where I live here, and mostly we're doing standards. And people would come up and say, "Oh, your voice is so beautiful." It has nothing to do with my voice. My voice is okay. It's like, people, I want to love you. I want you to know beauty. I want you to know love. And that's what came through when I sang. And you can also, I want people, if they, to sing to their child from a deep place of knowing you are already whole. I am already whole. Everything is in the hollow of the hand of love. Or maybe set up a healing practice. That can be done too. Or if you're a professional musician, let that transmission come, that beauty, right? That added beauty. I mean, classical music's beautiful already. That added beauty to come through. I think I want people to discover who they truly are.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, and you come from such a heartful place. You're representing how that can happen, right? People can see it, people radiate to it, like you were saying, even with your Irish band.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, what is this I'm feeling? It's not just that the music is beautiful, but there's something more to it that's being radiated as you sing.
And
Yeah.
I want to say, by the way, we talk about with the miracles, you didn't know me 20, 30, 40 years ago, believe me. I am the poster child for somebody who was angry, cynical, shut down, belligerent. I mean, really, I was really hard to take. And, and 40 years ago, and I said, I'm going to sit here in a chair and talk to somebody about love. I don't think so. But my relationships have improved. My relationship with my husband has improved a zillion percent. He's a very fair-minded person. He was like, if you're drawn to be a Sufi, I trust you, go ahead and do it. And then he noticed that it made me much easier to get along with. Right? Because we're just, there's nothing to fight. It's like, instead of like fighting the other person for what you need, it's like, it's more often it's accessible here, and then you can share it. So anyway, talking about miracles.
Yeah, that's right. Is actually following your heart when you get that spark, that inclination, and taking that leap. Um, the unknown and embracing the unknown. I'm sure you ha had an idea of what you were getting into as your life transformed, but you trusted and yeah, you followed the path.
That's actually a really good point, Natalie, because the medical intuitive, by the way, is the chancellor of the university where this course is being given. Uh, I was a hoo-ha in this other path. My husband was on the board. We had been like one of the couples in the, and I could feel my heart opening to this other path, and I was like, oh, sugar. Who will I be? Who am I? Will my friends accept me? Will I lose my husband? Will I lose my friends? And I remember calling him at midnight that night when I could feel my heart start to open. It's like, this is not my idea. And he's so dear. And he was like, I trust you. I called my best friend. She said the same thing. Like, Laila, follow your heart. I trust you. So I actually really had no idea how much my life was going to change. Just no idea. And I mean, I wouldn't go back for anything. But it was a little scary. I mean, it sounds like you have that kind of experience too.
Yes, I think anytime, I think that is, I mean, even an issue for people trying to decide if they want to jump into sound healing full time rather than their corporate job. I mean, there's so many examples that it could be for people. But wow, just following your heart, what a difference that makes. And truly, if you truly do, what I've seen for myself and other people, things blossom
Mm,
way more than you could imagine
right.
if you truly do. And but there can be a little limbo, scary transition time, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's something the Sufis call the fana. It's like a dying, right? It's like
Yep.
the
Yep.
caterpillar goes into the cocoon, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, but they actually liquefy
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
they become goop. They're nothing, and then
Yeah.
they become the butterfly. And that's it's the I think that in a loving universe, if you are willing to go into that nothingness, there's a tremendous reward. And there are many, many deaths along the way, and each one brings more and more beauty.
Absolutely. I mean, nature shows us that as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? Right. Just the seasons, the cycles that even if it might be the worst bleak winter, that and there's always rebirth afterwards, and to embrace those moments that you do need to be still or hibernate or, have a pause, that the momentum's just on the other side of it. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
some seeds even have to freeze before they'll bloom, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Well, gosh, before we sign off, anything else you'd like to share with the listeners? Anything at all?
Well, I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about something I love. Uh, I, I would like to share a practice if people want to take it away, and I also want to say the information about the program is on the website. It can be taken as a full master's program. There are scholarships available. And you could also just take it as the sound healing modules that Yuval Ron specializes in. Everything is on the weekend or in the evening. Um, there's assistance in the class for support. The university has been doing this kind of spiritual journey, spiritual development for many years, and also since COVID over Zoom really effectively, and it's in my estimation, and uh, the container, so to speak, is tried and true. The people are very dedicated in service to the students, and I think it's a trustworthy course, if you know what I mean. So if you care to, putting your hand on your chest just to bring our attention there, right? It's not really necessary. To do this work, you don't need any kind of gizmos or gadgets or prayer beads, or, I mean, it's nice to have some things, but you don't need anything really. But bringing the intention to the heart. And by heart, I mean the entire sort of upper chest area. It's a hologram for the entire human being, past, present, and future, on all levels. And bring your awareness to like the outermost level of the heart. Like so, that would be kind of in the chest under your hand. And the word that I invite you to join me in, whether you match my tone or you do it a different tone or whatever, is Allah. It means the All One, the God, the All One. Allah, allowing the vibration, allowing yourself to feel the vibration in the chest. It's not just a throwaway sensation, it's an awakening. And also feeling the feet on the ground, the bottom of your body on the chair, whatever you're sitting on. The Sufis say the more earth, the more heaven. So it's good to stay in the body. Allah, Allah, good. Allah, Allah. Now sinking our intention a little bit deeper into the chest, like sitting back on a feather bed, being held by the softness and the sweetness of our heart. Continuing, Allah, 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 Allah. Good. Keep sinking now into the heart, into the feather bed. Allah, 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 Allah. Good. Keep going. Allah, 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 Allah. Again, letting go of the mind and the thinking and the figuring out of any distractions. Just come back to the hand on the heart, enjoying the sensations. And it's sort of like giving over to the invocation, invoking the reality of the one, sort of giving over. We won't lose ourselves. We'll still be us, but being washed and bowing to the one. Allah, 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 letting this silent vibration continue, permeate the heart, like the perfect rain after a drought. Good. Keep going. And as you're able to access this experience, imagine being able to hold this when somebody's yelling at you, God forbid, or something frustrating happens or your heart is breaking, and staying connected to the peace, to the one. Allah. What a gift that is to the other person, to the outer world. And then just taking another moment or two here, and then slowly coming back. Just getting a sense of where your body, heart, mind, spirit are right now. Just know you can invite this anytime with Allah and the intention and the humility. Apparently the Kenyan Quakers tend to be silent in meeting, but apparently in Kenya, when they're having a business meeting and people get really argumentative, they burst into song.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound like fun?
It does sound like fun. We need to do that. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that offering and practice and really gift. I can feel a shift from how I felt before till now, and actually really just the palpable, just the energy and the silence afterwards
Mm-hmm.
was so strong. And then opening my eyes, there's more of a focus, more of a clarity I
Mm-hmm.
was feeling as well. So thank you.
You are so welcome. You've been so open and so available. This is really lovely for me.
Me too. I'm really grateful that we've been connected, and I hope we stay connected.
I
I
look forward to
appreciate
that.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, I appreciate you very much. This has been
great.
good.
Okay. Well, thank you, Laila. Thanks so much for being with us.
You are so welcome, and hope to see people in June.
Yeah, great. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Sounds Heal Podcast. You can keep up to date with what's coming up next at soundshealstudio.com, on the YouTube channel, Sounds Heal Studio, for the podcast and new music, on Instagram at Natalie Brown Sounds Heal, and Facebook at Sounds Heal Studio. Be well and stay tuned.